Alright, first and foremost, I want to say Kalalali Hawa Bashem Yaoshai, Bashem Rakar Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Stone, and salutations to all the brothers that's pushing this work in all sincerity and in truth. And the brother Yahya from James Kingston, Jamaica camp. With a lesson going forth to the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. The people that were scattered through transatlantic slave trade, those people are the true biblical Israelites. The people over there in North, South, and Central America, predominantly those people are the true biblical Israelites according to the word of the scriptures. Right? And this is basically to bring forth the reality that there could be a famine near you within 3 days. Famine doesn't mean that there is no food. Famine means that there is no food in the area that you reside, and that is a high possibility due to the circumstances that most communities find themselves into. Now, this is an article from zeroedge.com. Understand? And I reviewed the website. It seems to be a very credible website, right? And this is something that is happening in America right now. See me? So it said if truckers stop working, grocery stores would run out of food in 3 days. So because this article was 16th of September 2019. See, that's the time that this article was published, so it's a very recent article. So it said because of the bloodbath ongoing in the trucking industry right now, it is important to realize how much Americans are dependent on trucking, meaning that they are at a vulnerability if there is no trucking. You understand? If truckers stopped working, grocery stores across the country would run out of food in just 3 days, because each store basically stock up on 3 days supply of food. Understand? So that is how they do their rotation. Zine, their freight in, their freight out. You understand? So truck moves about 61% of the freight in the United States, according to the New Haven Register. That means that if the truckers in this country had stopped working, grocery stores would be out of food, plunging the nation into an epic food crisis. It's more important than ever to prepare yourself and your family for a possible food crisis. Hunger will bring out the worst in humanity, and the scripture speaks about this. It speaks about, I'm gonna get the precept. Understand? So let's read on. Hunger brings out the worst in humanity, and ensuring you can provide enough will keep your mind at ease while others fight over the last can of corn. Now, do you think they're saying that others fighting over the last can of corn? Do you think that they are going to go to the stores to fight over a can of corn? No, they're going to come to your house, man. Understand? And as I have mentioned before, that is part of what the scripture speaks about. See? Because it's in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, start at verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Speaking about race war. Race war is a very real possibility. It's a very real event that will happen. It's a surety that will happen in the face of hard crisis. In the face of austerity. So when there is a situation that presents itself such as famine, understand, people are going to ally themselves with like kinds, right? And there's going to be a means of conflict. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men. What does the word sedition mean? Let's look it up. Sedition. word sedition means conduct, speech inciting people to rebel against authority of a state or monarch. Sedition is overt conduct such as speech and organization that tends towards insurrection against the established order. So tends towards insurrection against established order. So men are going to basically go astray from being civil, from proper conduct and order, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. The course of their action shall stand in their power, meaning that they are not being led by the authorities anymore. They are being led by their own desires and acting upon their own power. You understand? So when this article says that you're supposed to store up food, zine, because others are going to fight over a last can of corn, where you think they're going to fight for it from? They're going to fight for it in your house. They're going to invade your house, zine, come in your house, kill, it's like, yeah, kill who them for kill, and take what them for take, right? So it said, without trucking, we would be naked, starving, and homeless. That is how vulnerable the American society is. Without trucking, they would be naked, vulnerable, and homeless because they're not gonna have no food. See? And the article is going to go down into showing you that majority of the American population don't know how to hunt for their own food, nor to cultivate their own food. See? They don't have a means to do that. So it say, so continuing, say Mike Robbins, a longtime trucker and leader of trucker strike group Black Smoke Matters, told Business Insider, and a study by the American Trucking Association outlined what would happen if truckers were to stop working. The effects would hit hospitals, gas stations, ATMs, grocery stores, and even your garage garbage can. See? So let's take it one step further. Imagine if there was no gas. Imagine if gas could not be supplied to those trucks. What would happen? The state will fall into that turmoil, into that position of turmoil, nevertheless. You understand? So the American state society is very, very vulnerable. You understand? So basic medical supplies like syringes and catheters would be at risk of running out. Medication for cancer patients that use pharmaceuticals, which only have a lifespan of a few hours, would expire. This should highlight the importance of taking on a preparedness mindset. If the grocery stores run out of food, what are your options? A great majority of Americans have no idea how to grow or hunt their own food. Others don't think they need to have any stored food at all in case of minor emergencies such as blizzard or storm. So the American society is very, very vulnerable, and the Bible speaks about these things. The Bible speaks about the full storehouses being empty. The Bible speaks about sedition among men. The Bible speaks about lack of work, right? And what can happen. And these things all lead to a state of austerity within the society. And these things are going to come because it's mentioned in the book of Second Ezra, chapter 6, verse 22. It says, suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be destroyed. In a time of war, what do you think happens, man? When men start to maneuver themselves, you understand? All means of economic supply of food and those things are seized. Then cultivation ceased. So suddenly shall the sown place appear unsown. Then the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. In the time of chaos, no one regards the life of another. Everyone is seeking out for themselves. You understand? And it continues and says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hear it, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So all of these things are what's prepared to come upon the face of this current society. Understand? Man aga invade them one another. As in, there shall be invading of one another. There shall be conflict between brothers, between sisters. There shall be turmoil in the streets. And look at how simple it can be triggered. It can be triggered by a simple lack of transport, which is just a truck. Understand? To supply these things to the surrounding communities. Right? Verse 2 Ezra 15 verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. Right? So because of the lack of bread and great tribulation, them are spoil each other. You understand? When the article saying that you need to prep, American society need to prep, they said that you at least need to prep for 30 days. Zine, all of that food, man, are gonna get eradicated even before that time. Because the way you think the poor are gonna do? The poor that the society keeps neglecting, that cannot afford to prep for them food. What do you think them are gonna do? Them are gonna run in upon all who have the food. That are gonna be the perfect time to capitalize and feed themselves, because nowhere is having food. Normally the poor man pan corner would have feed out of the garbage bin because them have little KFC scraps and the little Popeye scraps and whatever. But what do you think gonna happen when all of them scraps the seeds, when KFC can't supply chicken no more? Because the chicken truck gets stopped. What do you think the bags are fillets and all them look something there. When them something they stop run, what do you think gonna happen? All who have them stored up in them houses, in them mansion, in them fenced house and gated communities and all them little places, what do you think gonna happen? The poor are gonna run in, and they're gonna take what them want, and them gonna take it by force. You understand? So a terrible time is coming, man. Not only to America, but to majority of the cities across the entire world, man. Because what? We're going into a third world war. That is the condition that we're under right now. That is the state that we're under right now. We're going forth into a third world war. And these are some of the things that is going to happen on the journey into that state. Right? And with that, I hope that this was edifying unto the elect of the nation of Israel. I want to say Kalalal, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makar Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Stone. Salutations to all the brothers that's pushing this work in our sincerity and in truth. Shalom.